Hello everyone. Welcome to Read the Marker's Mind session for performance management, and this is your instructor Rizwan Maniya as always. So today I will be focusing on the mindset of the examiner. It's really important to understand what examiner actually thinks. Okay, what is in the mind of the examiner? This should be very much clear to all of us. Because to whom are we submitting the question papers? To the examiner. So if we are submitting our question papers to the examiner, we should know his or her mindset, what they think, how they give you marks, for what they give you marks, for what they don't award you marks. Okay, so by understanding the things for which they give you marks, you should focus more on that. Things that they will not give you marks for, we should avoid that. So this is a very key document by the name of Read the Marker's Mind. So I can simply say this, that you guys are really lucky that you have the opportunity to read the mind of the marker. So just catch this opportunity and let's read with me what the marker expects. Okay. Now, to start with, and I definitely want you to make points, note down things, whatever key takeaways will be for you, because this will massively help you, honestly, massively help you in terms of understanding the things. Now, examiner in CRQs will assign you marks on a fair basis, I would say. They are not rude. They are not someone who goes with negative marking. They will award you marks for all the necessary best things you have done. So I personally believe that nobody can fail in CRQ. Now for MTQs, for OTs, we already know those are very simple auto-marked areas, right? Either you get 2 or you get a 0 in OTs and MTQs. CRQ is where you can express yourself, you will construct your responses, and that is where the room is available. In OT or MTQ, if the answer is not exactly what is needed, you will not get any marks for any of your effort. But here, the best part is that you will get marks for your efforts, and any reasonable attempt will get the marks. And at the end of the session, if you are with me till the end, you should be with me till the end. So do watch this till the end. You will realize at the end that, wow, it's not difficult at all to grab marks in CRQs. And the second thought that will come to your mind is, don't know why people fail. Don't know why people fail if this is the marking criteria of the examiner. Honestly speaking, you will be shocked to see that marks are given to you on those things that normally a person would say, why? Are you my family member? It seems like, honestly. Anyways, so we'll be looking here. What are the things for which we do get the marks? The reason why we are not awarded the marks. Okay. And whatever you learn, make sure that you do assess your answers now according to that. Now, for understanding the marker's mind, the question that we are using here is September, December exam question of Sports Limited. Many of you might have done this question already. And if you have, wow, you are in a very, very strong position to understand very well that what needs to be done. And those who haven't, no issues. We will just go through important things right now so that I can actually explain you that what are the areas where you can easily grab marks. As Rizwan Maniya always say, find easy marks. I always say there are easy marks available. Why not grab it, man? I want you to pass. So let's focus on at least 50% of the marks. Okay. So a quick brush up. Sports company, large manufacturing company specializing in the manufacture of wide range of sports clothing and equipment. Okay. The company has two divisions, clothing division and equipment division. Okay, fine. Both division operates with little intervention from head office, and the managers have the autonomy, they have the authority to take decisions about long-term investments. Fine. The company measures the performance of its division using ROI. So basically, ROI is being used as a measure of performance here. Okay. Calculated using controllable profits. Okay, the term controllable means a profit that will be a one that will reflect the manager's performance. Okay. Or that represents the controllable aspects. That represents controllable aspects, things that are in the control of the managers. Okay. So, and average divisional net assets. Average is the word used here. The target ROI for each division is 18%. Okay. If the division meets or exceeds this target, manager gets a bonus. So basically, if you meet 18% or you go beyond that, manager will get the bonus. Fine. Last year, an investment which was expected to meet the target ROI was rejected. Oh man, by one of the divisional managers because it would have reduced the division's overall ROI. That happens, man. Everybody know that. The sports company is considering the introduction of a new performance measure known as residual income. Okay. In order to discourage this dysfunctional behavior in the future. Now that happens, man, with ROI. Like ROI, this would be calculated using controllable profits, fine, and average divisional net assets. Now, by reading the scenario, it is very, very clear that what needs to be done. I think at least 2 times they have used the word controllable here as well. Here as well, divisional net asset, what has been used here as well, and here as well. Now, man, what can I say? 2 times they have repeated the same 2 terms. Okay, how anyone would miss after that? That person, we need to pray for that guy. Okay, the draft operating statement for the year prepared by the company's trainee accountant is shown below, where you can see division C clothing and equipment division. We can see their sales revenue, we can see less variable cost, we can see contribution, we can see their fixed cost and the net profit as well. Okay. Fine. Opening divisional net assets, closing divisional net assets are given to me, and I have seen the word here, average asset has to be used. So any dumb, smart, average student can figure it out, man. Come on, I have opening, I have closing. How can I work out the average? Now, that's not a mystery, right? Okay. Included in the fixed costs here, this is the fixed cost. Our depreciation cost of 165,000 and 4,60,000 for division C and E respectively. Okay. 30% of the depreciation cost in each division relates to assets controlled, but not owned by the head office. Okay. Controlled, but not owned by the head office. Division E invested 2 million in plant and machinery at the beginning of the year. Fine. Which is included in the net assets figure above here. Okay. And using reducing balance method to depreciate the assets. Okay. Division C, which uses straight line method, made no significant additions to non-current asset. It is policy of the board division to charge full year's depreciation the year of acquisition. Okay, I just missed on, oh yeah, reducing balance method. Now, E uses reducing balance method, okay, and C uses straight line method. Fine. Okay, and they charge depreciation in the year of acquisition. So it's clear that E has made investment in its division. Okay, now head office recharges all of its costs to two divisions. Okay, Mr. Head Office. These have been included in the fixed cost and the amount to 620 for C and 7,000 for D. Okay. Sports company has a cost of capital of 12%. Done, guys? Clear. So very limited information is available to us in this scenario. And we just have to make sure that we do understand each and everything, my friends. That's very important, very important. Okay. Now, requirements. I'll just go through the requirements quickly. You guys with me as always, it's my habit. You guys know that I focus on verbs and objects. So first, calculate the ROI for each division of sports company, and there are two divisions, 6 marks. Okay. Second, discuss. Be with me, guys. You'll really enjoy this session. Discuss is the examinable verb. Performance of the two divisions for the next year. So the object number one is performance of the two divisions. So here I can say this is the verb and this is the object. Everybody has a clear idea. Here, this is the verb and performance is the object of the two divisions for the year. Okay, we have to discuss the performance, including the main reasons why their ROI result differ from each other. Okay, it's not just the performance that I have to discuss, but there is one more object that they've added here, and that is main reasons. We have to discuss. Now, verb hasn't changed. Verb is discuss. The other object is main reasons why ROI results of both are different. So I have to focus on the reasons why the ROI results are different. Okay. Then moving ahead, another verb. Explain. Okay, what to explain? The impact, the difference in ROI. The impact. We will discuss the impact. This is the object. The difference in ROI would have on the behavior of the managers, of the manager of worst performing division. The worst performing division manager behavior. So we have to discuss what will be the impact on the manager who division is not performing well. So for 6 marks, precisely if I say, so there are two verbs. There are two verbs. Verb number one, okay, verb number two. And there are three objects, honestly speaking, where I can say performance has to be discussed. Main reasons, main reasons is what I have to focus on. And also I have to discuss the impact this will have on the behavior of the manager. Read the marker's mind. It's to understand the marker's mind. It's important to understand verbs and objects. This is what Rizwan Maniya is saying since last more than 17 years of teaching this paper. Okay. Second, calculate RI for the two divisions. So this is very simple. Calculate is the verb, RI is the object. Okay. And means additional requirement, additional requirement. Briefly comment is another verb. Okay. On what? On the results of the performance measure. So this is the object. Very simple, my friends. Are you with me? Come on, you have to be attentive here. This will massively change your mindset of answering CRQs. Okay? Right. Now, after this, next is explain. Another verb. Okay? Advantages and disadvantages of using RI. This is the object to assess divisional performance for 4 months. Right? Now, this is very important that in examination, I mentioned several times that you do read the requirements first and highlight verbs and objects. Done. So 20-mark requirement is in front of you. If you can see here, so calculation 6 marks here. Second B1 calculation 3 marks because 1 mark is for the comment here. Okay. So this means altogether you have 9 marks here for the calculations. Okay. And 11 marks you have for the theory. Wow. Okay. Done. Now, going back to the examiner mindset. We have seen the question, guys. Now, as a sample, we will be reading the script of one of the students. I'm not calculating here the answers. I'm not interested in calculating the answers. We'll be looking at the script of one of the students, okay, so that we get to know what needs to be done. So here the requirements are the one that we have already gone through. Okay. Right. Now, few interesting things. Calculative OTs, sorry, calculative questions, very simple marking scheme. If I go back to the question here, so I'll tell you a basic thing. We will be starting with net profit. Please just have a look. Net profit. Okay. In this net profit, we need to make certain adjustments. Okay. So why should I use the official answer here? Yeah. Okay. See, so we'll start with net profit. And here the net profit figure is available. So a simple way of calculation would be that we have to work out ROI, and the basis to work out ROI is controllable profit divided by average net assets. Okay. So 1455 is the profit I have to start with. Please listen to me. Okay. But this is not the profit that I'll be using every time. This is not the profit I will be using every time. I have to convert this profit. I started with this one. To make it controllable profit, what are the important things that one would require here to do? So the important things would be, I'll add back what? The depreciation on this non-current assets and head office fixed cost. To make this controllable, I have to add back certain things. Okay, I have to add back certain things. And what will we add back is head office cost. Head office cost is not in the control of the division. What do you think? Yes or no? Yes. Let's add back this cost. Do we have this figure available in the question? Yes, we do have. Where are the figures? The figures are clearly mentioned here. You can see 620, 700,000. Let's add back these two. Done. Let's add back these two. What about depreciation? We will take controllable depreciation here. So how much is the controllable depreciation then? Controllable depreciation? Controllable depreciation is what I can work out very easily. If you see in the question here, they have given me the amount of depreciation and that is 165. Okay, so how to work out the controllable depreciation from this figure? So they have mentioned that 30% of the depreciation really relates to the asset controlled but not owned by the head office. Okay, controlled but not owned by the head office. This means this 30%, this 30% is the depreciation that I should do what, guys? I should add back. Okay, I should add back. So these, what I've done here, 30% of the depreciation that was given, I just worked out that and I'll just add back. Now, after adding these two back, I will get controllable profits. Okay. For net assets, opening plus closing divide by 2. Opening plus closing divide by 2. Very simple. Opening plus closing divide by 2. True. Clear? And for ROI, it's very simple, my friends. Profit divide by average investment, and you'll get the answer of ROI. Okay. Now, looking at the marking scheme here. So you have seen yourself. So controllable profit worked out, depreciation relating to those assets that were controlled by the head office. Okay, that were controlled by the head office. So because they were controlling these head office, so definitely we are not answerable for that. So we added back that depreciation. The head office cost also was added back. We have controllable profits and average in asset, and we have the ROI. Now 6 marks. So let's look at the marking scheme. Let's look at the marking scheme. Right? If I look at the marking scheme, so 1 mark for net profit, I'll get 1 mark if I started with net profit. Please understand, today I will make you the marker as well. 1 mark for the net profit. Second, adding back depreciation, 1 mark. Head office cost, 1 mark. Controllable profit, 1 mark. Average asset, 1 mark. ROI, 1 mark. 6 marks. 6 marks. Okay. Which means any working you do, you get 1 mark. Are you with me? But you will be very much surprised today by few things. So if I start with net profit, I get 1 mark. Because I have to make adjustment to this net profit, I have to start with this net profit. And if I start with the net profit and I make the adjustments, I get the marks. any student who did start from net profit will get 1 mark. Any student who added back depreciation, because the concept should be clear, these relates to the assets that are controlled by the head office. Head office is controlling these assets. Okay. Right. So because they are controlling the assets, so the depreciation should not be charged under the assessment of the division, or I can say the manager. Okay. Plus head office recharges all its costs. So it's a head office cost, division, or the manager is not responsible for that. So just add back that as well. So like this, if you see here, that you have added back depreciation and head office both, and you are getting marks for that. For controllable profit calculation, you are getting marks for that as well. Okay, done. Now let's look at the script of one of the students. First of all, please be with me. Now, the student who attempted this question started with net profit, got 1 mark. Worked out average net assets, very simple, opening plus closing divided by 2, got 1 mark. Listen. Worked out ROI. How? Profit divided by average asset. Profit divided by average asset. Got 1 mark. What is the mistake the student did? Come on, guys, can you come up with what he missed out? What is that he missed out? Okay, sir, it's very clear. The student didn't do any adjustment. No, now it's interesting, it's funny as well. No adjustment done, which means the student never added back depreciation, never added back head office cost, never worked out controllable profits. So 3 marks lost. 3 marks lost. 3 marks lost. Okay. If 3 marks lost, so examiner is still giving you 3 marks. You should be thankful to this person who is giving you just passing marks for this part, which means by doing a massive conceptual mistake, not adding back depreciation, means you lack the concept. A depreciation that is not under their control, and 2 times they have repeated the word controllable. Still you missed out that. And you're still getting just passing marks. Are you with me? Come on, say yes or no. Similarly, not adding head office costs because they've used the word controllable. Still you're getting the marks. Just imagine, after looking at this marking scheme, I don't understand why people fail. And even the same will be for you people. And we are like so sensitive. Oh, I missed out this. When we came out of the exam center, as we started discussing, people started discussing, did you add it back head office cost? No. Why? That person is explaining you. Come on, that is not controllable. Oh man, head office is controlling the asset. So why should the manager be responsible for that? You should have added back. You were like, oh yes, I missed it. Did you add it back head office cost? No, I didn't. Why? Because it's the head office cost. Why should be manager responsible for that? You were like, oh shit, gone. Let's prepare for the next attempt. Let's prepare for the next attempt. But you never considered that you got passing marks by doing this stupid thing as well. Thank you to the examiner. Love you, examiner, love you. What else you want? So started with net profit, you got 1 mark. Average asset, thankfully you worked out. This person thankfully worked out the average asset. 2 times it was written as a reminder. Average net assets, average asset, average asset. You worked out that ROI formula. You know the formula, you got the marks. 3 out of 6 done, 50% marks achieved despite doing 2 stupid mistakes. So that's interesting. That is massively interesting for you people, right? Okay, done. Now you know to grab. See, these are easy pickings. When I say easy mark, this is what I mean. Start with profit, worked out ROI. These are easy marks despite doing wrong, despite not making adjustment, you're getting the marks. This is what I say, easy numbers to ensure that you pass. Perfectly fine, done. Okay, understood everyone. Next. Next part. Okay. Remember what was the next part? I'll just recall here. Discuss was the verb. Performance of the 2 divisions that you had to do. Number 2 object, you also have to mention main reasons why the results of 2 divisions differ. Okay. Plus, another verb was to explain the impact this difference in ROI will have on the behavior of the worst performing division. 6 marks. Now to grab complete 6 marks, you have to answer all the 3 things. If you will not answer all the 3 objects, you will not get 6 marks. Okay. So in the report, in this document as well, if you see, examiner also has mentioned this. A2 requires a discussion, okay, including the main reasons why they differ, explaining the impact on the behavior, right? So it is important to identify all elements of the requirement, all elements. Okay, so you have to consider all the 3 things. I made it very clear. Discussion of the performance, main reason why they differ, and third is the impact on the behavior. Okay, fine. Okay, let's read the answer of this Mr. Candidate. 1 script I'll explain you, 1 we'll mark together. Okay, let's become a marker today. Come on, read. So the answers, we know what massive stupidity we have done in the first part. And let me just recall the target for the bonus, 18%. Okay, and I can simply figure it out that division C, target not met, division E, target not met, so no bonus. Okay, let's read. The target ROI for each division is 18%. During the year, division C, ROI is 13.2, less than the target, means division didn't perform well. Okay, this is for C only. If we discuss why ROI of both division differs, now answering the second part. Remember the second object. This is the first object, second object. As we could see, C is not buying any new non-current asset for the division. Okay. They may reduce their depreciation expense and would increase their ROI for the period. Very much strange, you know. The student is writing something else and the numbers are depicting something else. Now, please, you need to realize one thing here. The student is saying that division C never invested in the assets. So if you don't invest in assets, your denominator will be low and your ROI will be higher. Makes sense? Come on. Say yes or no. Yes. So if you are saying on at one end that he didn't make the investment and his ROI should be more, then why is his ROI less compared to division E? Anyways, cannot laugh, but let's look at the marking scheme. 1 mark examiner gave because, see, understand the key things. 1 mark examiner gave because the student compared the performance with the target which was given. This means it was important to use the target. Use the target given in the question. If the target is given in the question, you should use it. And if you will use it, you get the mark. Despite all the stupidity you have done in before, you are getting marks. Now something should come to your mind. Sir, what are you saying? The ratios calculated above are actually wrong. The figures are not correct. Remember, own figure rule. Own figure rule of the examiner. If they have penalized you in the first part for the mistake that you have done, you will not be penalized again. Love you, examiner. Love you. Still we fail the paper. Now I don't understand. Still we fail the exam. What extra talented we are. What extra intelligence we have. Still we fail the paper. It requires some extraordinary talent. Because looking at this marking scheme, I don't understand how people fail. Okay, so guys, be with me. Yeah, you should laugh. This is important right now. I'm sure people who are watching me, they are laughing. They should laugh. Examiner says, the mistake that you did earlier, I have penalized you for that. I have penalized you for that. I have penalized you for that. So now I will not deduct marks. If you have written something correct based on your wrong answer, I'll give you marks. Superb. Superb. Okay. So you are getting marks done. Just because you compared with the target. It was right to compare with the target. Second, even though this answer is a confused answer, even though the answer, the discussion, the reason for the difference mentioned is not in line with the numbers above, I already showed you there. The C ROI is less, but the reason mentioned here says that the ROI of the C should be more because less asset investment made. Despite this confused answer, examiner gave you mark because conceptually you wrote right that yes, if you buy a new asset, your investment goes up and your ROI decreases. So as a concept, this is right that division C didn't invested in the assets and actually they didn't invest in the assets, so their ROI should go up. So as a concept, this is right. Still, this kind-hearted person gave you marks because he tested you for the concept, and as a concept, this is right to say yes, division C never invested in the asset, and maybe that is why their asset base will be low and their ROI will be high. Even though the number calculated above is giving you some other message. Awesome, kind person this this examiner is. Someday I'll meet this person, okay? And I'll ask you still why people fail, still why the passing ratio is low. Done. Are you following me? What I'm trying to explain here. Done. Now division E. Okay, Mr. E. Again compared with ROI, but because you have been given marks above for the same practice, the marks will not repeat because the concept is that you compared with the target. That's fine. Done. Now, first reason, this is interesting. The target ROI is 18 and division E ROI is less. Now, look at the reasons. First reason is the extra head office cost of 700,000, which it recharges to division E. This point as a reason is conceptually wrong. Because first you had to add back, you didn't do that. Now the person is mentioning that the reason for ROI of division E less than the target was because a head office cost has been charged. Oh man, conceptually you are wrong. I did penalize you above for the wrong calculation. Here I will not give you marks for this rubbish point because as a concept, this statement is not correct. So own figure rule, yes, is applied, but when conceptually things are wrong, own figure rule will not apply to technically wrong concepts. Technically wrong points, own figure rule will not apply. Now don't say that because they didn't add it back above and they have been penalized, why they are not getting marks here? No, because this statement conceptually is wrong. Conceptually is wrong. So you will not get marks for this. Yeah, no negative marking in ACCA. There is no -1 deduction here. Okay. So this point, if technically, if you're writing a wrong point, in that case, own figure rule will not apply. Understood? Yes or no? Rubbish. Yeah. But the company made an investment to 2 million. Yes, that is a valid thing. 2 million investment done. Because you made the investment of 2 million, your asset value went up, your ROI came down. Okay. Plus, I can say depreciation charge for the full year could be also because see, there are two impacts actually. Understand one thing. You did an investment, okay? Your asset will go up. And because they are charging depreciation, so the profit would go down. Because investment will give you profits. The genuine profits from the investment will take years to come. But currently they are charging depreciation in the first year of acquisition. So there are double impacts actually. You bought the asset, depreciation will be charged, your profit will go down. Because you bought the asset, your asset base is going up. So both will have a negative impact on ROI and both will reduce the ROI. Okay. So considering the student did picked up this point correctly, this is the right point. Conceptually, you are right. You are getting 1 mark for this. Understood, everyone? So are you with me? If you buy an asset, and one more interesting thing I want to tell you. If you buy an asset, so your asset base goes up. Denominator of the ROI goes up. Answer will go down. The other impact, because you are charging depreciation in the year of acquisition,
your profit will go down, numerator will go down, and hence your final answer will go down. So double impact is being created here. And on top of it, cherry on the cake is you are using reducing balance basis. Oh, in reducing balance basis, higher charge in the initial years, lower charge later on. So first year, the year of acquisition, the charge of depreciation is also higher on the profits. So badly affecting your profits. Badly affecting your profits. Done? So this is the right concept, I would say. Again, rubbish written. 30% of depreciation cost related to the assets controlled but not owned by the head office may resulted in lower ROI. You didn't make the adjustment at the first place. You had to add back this. Now, how could this be the reason for a lower ROI? Just imagine. This is something you had to add back. And now you are saying this is the reason for a lower ROI. So this is again conceptually wrong thing, and own figure rule will not apply here. Okay? Done? Done. Let's move on. 1 mark. Why? Because investment point was correct. Then, now, the student have addressed somehow, I'm not saying perfectly correct, somehow addressed two things. Discussion on the performance, okay, by comparing with the target, and somehow mentioned the reasons why the ROI differed. The correct reasons have been given the marks, the wrong reasons were ignored. Investment reason for division E, marks were given. Okay. For division C, didn't bought the asset. This will impact on ROI. Marks were given for this. So 3 marks you can see I have highlighted here for you. Comparison with the target, buying, not buying the asset, and 2 million investment and a depreciation charge. Okay. So somehow addressed 2 objects. Now the third was impact on the behavior of worst performing division. Obviously, a person who would work out the ratios, okay, would answer. Now this is lovely. Now, if you are at this place, what would you do? You will look at your numbers. You will look at the numbers and considering, guys, considering these numbers, which is a worst performing division? Considering these numbers, is it C or E? Tell me. C. Anybody would say, considering these numbers, C is the underperforming division. I know the calculations are wrong. I know. But because you had been penalized before for this mistake, now assuming this is correct, examiner will give you marks if you have written correct comment or correct reason considering this is wrong. Own figure rule is being applied. Own figure rule is being applied. So C is underperforming based on the numbers. Okay. Manager may be demotivated by allocation of high fixed costs, right? He might think this is not a suitable measure and he may encourage more slack. There are serious grammatical issues in the English, but you are not being penalized for serious grammatical issues. They're not penalizing you for language issue. As far as they understand what you mean, they will give marks. There are grammatical problems, but no penalization for that. Okay. Examiner gave you 1 mark because you did figure out the worst performing division, and because of which he will be demotivated. I know the percentages are wrong, but based on those percentages, he's giving you marks. Okay. Understood? Second, 1 mark for writing that any person would stop investments if the ROIs are reducing and they are losing the bonuses. Now, as a concept, this is correct. If one division is investing and the ROIs are going down and they are losing the bonus, that division would think, why I'm doing this? Why I'm losing my bonuses? I'll stop making investments. Dysfunctional behavior. That also was mentioned in the scenario. Okay. So because the conceptual point is correct, even though his answer is not properly linked to the values, but because conceptually this is right, he will get 1 mark for this. 1 mark for the worst performing division and the demotivation, and 1 mark for mentioning a conceptually correct point that yes, any person would get demotivated if because the investment they are losing the bonus, because the investment they are not meeting the targets, they are getting the marks. Now, 5 marks out of 6. I know technically things were wrong, but in this part, the student tried to address performance assessment, reason for the difference in the ROI, and the impact on the manager of worst performing, because he tried to answer all the components, and somehow in all the components 1 to 2 points were correct, he got the marks. So what is the message for you people? The message is attempt the entire question, and answer all the objects. That is why Rizwan Maniya says every time, find worms and objects and answer all the objects. If you try to answer all the objects, if you try to write as many things that comes to your point from the object perspective, wrong ones would not be marked, correct ones will give you marks. 5 marks out of 6 for this horrible answer. Sorry to say horrible, the point is so many incorrect things. Understood? Now see, let's compare with the official answer. If you are the student and when you will see the examiner answer, you will like fail. See, the number of mistakes done. I already showed you the calcs were wrong. Okay. To grab 6 marks, calcs were wrong. Theory part. Very strange. Oh man, oh man. Which division ROI is more? C. Which is less? E. It was vice versa for that candidate. Still got the marks. C ROI was greater than 18%. E ROI was less than 18%. Who will get the bonus? Speak. C will get the bonus. E will not get the bonus. Okay. Who will be motivated? C. Who will be demotivated? E. Okay. Who made the investment during the year? Who? Equipment division? E. Now, E made the investment, and because E made the investment, and because E uses reducing balance basis, the reason for E profits to be low, is clear, is clear, is clear, because E made the investment, E is charging depreciation, reducing balance basis. That's why E is unable to meet the target and losing the bonus. So the official answer, see, in the official answer, by comparing with the target, you will get the marks. Understood? You will get the marks. Okay. E has more assets. Yes, E is an equipment division. E as an equipment division will have more assets, obviously. Right? Because equipments are there. Now, E assets were more because of additions made. Plus, these have been depreciated during the year based on reducing balance method, and the profits were lower. Are you with me? So, performance assessed here in this paragraph, reason mentioned here in this paragraph, and impact on the manager of worst performing is mentioned here. 3 paragraphs. Now, based on the results of ROI, C will get the bonus, E will not. Negative impact on motivation of E. And he will be discouraged from making future investments. Okay. So all the 3 objects have been answered to get the marks. Are you with me? Say yes or no. Understanding the things. So this is an official answer to grab 6 marks. All 3 points covered. But I did show you the students' answer where there were things wrong, but due to own figure rule, 5 marks the student were able to obtain by touching the correct things. Now you might be thinking, why then student fail? We'll come to that as well. We'll mark another script to see why they failed. Are you with me? Yes or no? One thing to observe. You are getting 1 mark per 1 valid point. 1 mark per 1 valid conceptual point. Okay? Or I can say 1 mark for fulfilling the requirement conceptually. Right? 6 marks done. Perfect. Okay. Now, I showed you the correct answer. The next requirement was to calculate RI. Okay, now, same controllable profit had to be used from part A. 12% cost of capital on the investment that you have to charge, and the same asset. It's the average divisional asset. I think they have also mentioned that in the question, that you have to work out the RI based on these two figures. Yeah, here it is. Now, still, if someone ignores it, what can we say? Just pray for that student. Just pray for them. Okay, now, and RI. So 1 mark for controllable profits. Okay. Imputed charge on the assets and ROI. Sorry, RI. And 1 mark for the comment, because this requirement wanted you to comment precisely, briefly comment. Okay. So I think that's clear. Now, what would be the comment? If the ROI is positive, we'll say the performance is good because they are covering the cost of capital. Cost of capital. The cost of capital is 12% and your target RI is 18. So in RI, we don't consider targets. We only consider cost of capital. So according to RI, if both the divisions, according to RI, if both the divisions are covering the cost of capital, both are performing good. Yes, I showed you the answer. Let's look at the student's script. One script we'll mark together. That would be interesting. That would ensure that your understanding is clear then. Okay. Oh, this person started with the net profit. Will examiner give the marks? Come on, what your brain says? Yes or no? Yes. Own figure rule. Own figure rule. 1 mark for this. 1 mark for this. 1 mark for this. Despite not using the correct profit figures, despite not using the correct investment figures, you're getting complete 3 marks for RI. You're getting complete 3 marks for RI. See? Interesting? Okay. Now let's read the comments. Results are positive for C. Yes, 12% cost of capital covered. E also performed well. Results are positive. And once I say positive, performed well, means conceptually I know that if positive answer is there, performance is good, I'll get marks. So 1 mark for the comment is done. 3 marks for the calculation is done. 4 out of 4. Can anyone imagine? And see how negative you guys are when you do such a foolish mistake. You're like, gone, 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 gone. I'll not pass. I'll not pass. You are getting 4 out of 4. Despite using wrong calculation, wrong numbers. 4 out of 4. And I know you are thinking, why we fail? Why we fail? Why students fail? Don't worry, you'll get the answer. Happy? So far, is it going is it interesting or not? Are you understanding the things? And for me, this should be confidence booster for you. This should motivate you. Let's move now towards the last requirement. And let's have a look first what the requirement is about. Explain is the verb. Advantage, disadvantage of using residual income to measure divisional performance. RI as a measure of divisional performance for 4 marks. It is extremely important to consider the verb. Students need to realize this, that verb state is very much different to verb explain. I know this is for 4 marks. And if I just do a clear planning in my mind, I can say 2 marks advantages, 2 marks drawbacks. And for 2 marks, I can say 1 mark for 1 advantage, maybe 1 mark for other advantage, 1 mark for 1 drawback, 1 mark for another drawback. So weightages of 1 mark approximately of each advantage and disadvantage. But even this is for 1 mark, you need to grab 1 mark. You need to earn 1 mark. So for that, verb will tell you in how much detail you have to go into. As I always say this, it's the verb who will identify the level of detail. It's not state the advantages. Now, if it is state the advantages, you just mention, you just state it. Like, for example, RI reduces dysfunctional behavior. This is an advantage of RI, that it does reduces dysfunctional behavior. But the verb is not to state. Okay. I'll not go to the official answer right now. I'll just go to the student's answer first. Okay, Mr. Student, here you are. Advantages of RI. Number 1, it shows clear results, okay, and cut those costs which are out of manager's control. I don't know what is written here, but that's totally not correct. I can't see this to be a true advantage of RI even. I know RI advantages, like RI reduces dysfunctional behavior, RI has a better correlation of shareholder wealth. I know these points, but this is, I don't know, something which is even correct as a conceptual statement. It shows clear results, okay, fine, and cuts those costs which are out of manager's control is not a problem. So no, nothing. This is not even an advantage for me. It reduces profits from notional trust charge on capital, yes, which gives better picture of the performance measures. Okay, now this seems to be okay, that it says it reduces the profits by charging a notional cost of capital, okay, which is, it means it charges a cost on the profits, and through this it gives us the better picture. So somehow I will say this is correct, but again I'll put further emphasis on the verb explain later on. Just wait. So 1 mark. It's complicated, difficult to understand. It could demotivate manager if cost of capital not charged correctly. So I don't think these are proper things here. 1 mark only for this student. Now, what I want to clear here is very important. I'll go to this note 8. Explicitly, we'll go to this note 8. Yeah, this is note 8. Very important. See, and be with me, please. Soon we'll become a marker together. 1 mark is given for second advantage that we just saw. The other
textbook comments do not explain any advantage or disadvantage of using RI to measure divisional performance. Remember, textbook comments will not work considering the verb. So the verb was to explain. Okay. The first advantage is not inclusive to RI, exclusive to RI. That something is difficult to understand is not valid reason for not using it. The last point is not a problem of the measure, but of its application. So the point that I want to make here is part B2 requires explanation of advantages and disadvantages. So the verb was explain and the object is advantages, disadvantages. C, textbook knowledge concepts must be applied to this given scenario. For example, RI reduces dysfunctional decision making. Now, this is I can say, yeah, this is something RI does, but does not explain the advantage. If you just mention RI reduces dysfunctional behavior, this doesn't explain the advantage. How to explain is see. RI reduces dysfunctional behavior because the word because is very important. So the word because is very important. And why I'm saying this, you guys have to keep this in your mind that you have to mention why this is an advantage. So see, because it uses cost of capital, so positive RI project for the company should also be accepted by the division, and this will give you a mark. So by just mentioning that RI reduces dysfunctional behavior is not a complete answer, is not a complete advantage until and unless you tell why this is an advantage. Yes, why this is an advantage. So to even get 1 mark because the verb is explained, don't look at marks only because the verb is explained. So if the verb says explain, then just stating that it reduces dysfunctional behavior is not enough. You have to tell why this is an advantage, and for that the best approach is to add word because it focuses on cost of capital, and if you focus on cost of capital, so you will select projects that will cover cost, and this is how it reduces dysfunctional behavior. And this is how it reduces dysfunctional behavior. Then will you get marks for that. But just stating that, okay, this reduces dysfunctional behavior. Now, you have to realize the verb was explain advantage. So just stating that it reduces dysfunctional behavior is not enough. And the best way to ensure is add word because. So see, I'll go to the answer. In fact, we'll go to the examiner report here. See, please everyone focus. According to the examiner report, people scored really low marks here. It's not difficult. The main reason candidates do not explain part of the requirement. Many candidates simply stated. Is the verb state or the verb is to explain? You guys tell me. Is the verb state or explain? Sir, the verb is to explain. So many candidates simply stated several advantages and disadvantages of RI.
without explaining them. For example, what they mentioned, RI reduces dysfunctional behavior. Now, this is what? Stating the advantage. Stating the advantage. No marks. No marks. Okay, stating the advantage will not give you marks. What will give you marks is, please, this does not explain the advantage. A because comes handy here. Learn. It's very easy. Add the word because. RI reduces dysfunctional decision making because it uses whole company cost of capital. Because it uses whole company cost of capital, so positive RI project for the company would also be accepted by the division. So when the verb is to explain, just stating a simple without explained benefit is of no use. When you say this is a positive point, if someone says you please explain why this is a positive point, so what would you do? You would explain, okay, because of this is a positive point. Because of this is a positive point. Okay. Walking is good. Walking is good. Exercise is good. This is just a statement. Now, if someone asks you, explain why exercise is good. So what you will say? Because it will reduce your fat. And once your fat goes down, your health becomes better. Explaining the benefit. Walking is good. So you have to explain by adding the word, as I said, walking is good because it will reduce the fat, it will burn the fat. Because the body will do the body will perform such an activity, will perform some activity, and the fat will burn. So the best tip is, whenever you're required to explain what you can do here, use word because to explain why this is what you are mentioning. So state is other object, explain is other object. Why this is a benefit. Then you get 4 marks. So 4 well-written positives and negatives with proper explanation of why in paragraph form will give you marks. Like you can see here in the official answer. Yes, I know official answer provides more detail, but just to give you the idea. See, imputed interest charge deducted from the profits, the performance manager aware the cost of assets under control. This is a benefit. It discourages wasteful spending. RI encourages managers to make new investments. Dysfunctional reduced. So any investment that increases RI, managers will accept it, and this reduces dysfunctional behavior. Okay. So I'm not saying that you have to link with the scenario. That depends on knowledge-based or application-based question. What I'm explaining here is explain why what you've stated is an advantage. Even in knowledge-based questions. Similarly, it does not facilitate comparison. Now, if you cannot just mention that it doesn't ensure like with like comparison. You have to mention why this is a drawback. Since divisions are of different sizes, their investments are different, like equipment division is a different size division. Okay. So it will not be related, it will not be a like with like comparison, because any division which is a bigger division will have bigger
absolute profit will have bigger RI.
RI is subject to manipulation. Now tell why. Because it is a profit-based measure, because it is using capital employed, so it is easy for people to manage. I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to say here. Mention because this is what. So it's not about 1 mark, just write 1 point. Foolishness, come on. This is not ACCA. Look at the verb. Explain. So to get 1 mark for explanation, you have to write in a way that you explain the reason, and whatever point you write, just write in form of paragraph. Now just see the answer of this student. Now just compare what I just explained to you. Just compare what I explained to you. Is this worth it to give marks? First of all, the points written are not purely the advantages. Not purely the advantages. And when you write something as an advantage, so explain it. Just don't expect that I'll write simple one statement about it without explaining. I will not get marks, you will fail the paper. I wrote 2 advantages, 2 drawbacks. Did you stated that or did you explain that? If you stated that, no marks. Go home. So here he performed bad, 1 mark. But previous things he got marks. Overall, this student managed to grab 13 out of 20. At least just pass the paper. Oh, sorry, question. Understood? Understood? So, 4 marks requirement. 1 mark for this drawback, 1 mark for this drawback, 1 mark for this advantage, 1 mark for this advantage, 4 done. One mark for a well-explained disadvantage. 1 mark for a well-explained advantage. Understood the marking scheme? So I hope 1 mark you understood. For 1 valid conceptual point, you get the marks. You get 1 mark for that. And the importance of verb is massively there, man. So on a tentative side, I can just, that's my assumption. You're looking at this answer. That's my assumption, okay? It may vary. By mentioning this, you grab 1 mark by mentioning the against the targets in the previous part. Okay? By mentioning, for example, the investment done by E gives you a mark here. Okay? Obviously, the entire script that you have written, I'm just highlighting the key points. Plus depreciation resulting in lower profits would also be a reason here. Okay. After that, bonus, getting one not getting the bonus, that results in a demotivation, obviously will give you marks. What impact this will do? Discouragement to invest should give you marks. Okay. So these are the points that can give you marks, like the comparison assessment done here between the two divisions, assets, investment affecting the asset side, depreciation affecting the profits. These are the reason for the lower ROI. Then the bonus that will demotivate. Okay, will discourage making the investments, right? So these are the things that will give marks. Also for mentioning that C's asset base is lower because they didn't make the investment. They didn't make the investment. Okay. You can grab marks on that as well because they give the student as well based on this. So like this, right points, right things, just write your answer. Just write your answer and try to cover all the objects will give you marks. That's the message. Now, this is a tentative marking I did here based on the learning from the examiner's document of Read the Marker's Mind. Now, are you ready to give marks with me to this script, guys? Come on. Yes or no? Ready? Ready? That how many marks you will give for a certain approach. Let's see how close you get into. Let's make you the marker. Ready? Let's start. Part A. The student started with net profit. Did use closing net assets. And the ROI calculation. Same here. Started with net profit, use closing net assets and ROI. Come on. How many marks for the calculation of the first part? This was for 6 marks. How many? Starting with net profit will give 1 mark. Yes. Closing net asset marks lost. ROI calculation 1 mark. Yes. For both the divisions. Okay. For both the divisions combined. No adjustment made for head office cost, for depreciation, no controllable profit. Lost 1 mark, lost 1 mark, lost 1 mark, wrong divisional net assets, 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6, 2 out of 6. So 2 marks. Let's have a look. Yes. 2 marks. Great. Now, the next part. The next part, remember, I see a flaw in this answer. The answer should have segregated by the parts. Examiner has mentioned it. Please segregate this by parts. This is A1. You have to do the labeling. And this is A2. Oh, rubbish. A2. See, this is the requirement. This one. And see the answer. What horribly presented answer is this? Only 2 lines. Comparing both division, C is performing better than E. Okay. Both division failed to achieve ROI target. ROI target is the key thing. Examiner doesn't give you marks by saying this is performing better than the other. That is obvious from the numbers, man. Target, comparison with the target. Both didn't achieve 18%. How many marks? Just 1. Just 1. No, for comparing with the target 1 mark. Target is the key thing. Simply mentioning this is better than the other doesn't work. Okay. So there were 3 things to be done. Assess the performance, reason for the difference in ROI,
and the impact on the behavior. I can't see the answer. I can't see the answer. Simply just done one thing, compared with the target, and because of this ROI target, you are getting 1 mark. Now you will understand why people fail. 1 out of 6. Total 3 out of the first 2 requirements. 3 out of the first 2 requirements. Listen. Listen. Labeling is very important. The answer is not well labeled. This is part A1, this is part A2, first of all. Second thing, they are not penalizing you for English grammar and anything, but at least it should be understandable. Just to give you the idea, a use of table here would have saved your time. Like the table used by the previous student was better presentation. Table. It will save your time. And this answer gives us the idea of lack of time management. He has done this in a fast way, maybe short of time. Okay, so compromise on the presentation as well. Let's move ahead. Part B1. Guys, are you with me? Okay. Come on. Same profit used here. Now, will you give marks for this profit? Will you give marks for this wrong profit? Yes. Own figure rule. Own figure rule. This is also correct, even though wrong, but this is also correct. Correct. For both the departments. Correct. So, how many marks for the calculations? 3. 3 marks. The profit figure, the notional charge, and the RI. Are you with me? Okay. What about the comment? Both divisions are having a healthy RI of 375 for division C and 350 for division E. Come on. Will we get 1 mark for the comment here? Yes or no? Yes. The key word that fulfills the need of the requirement, the key word that fulfills the need of the requirement is healthy RI. It shows it is covering cost of capital. See how generous kind the examiner is. How generous kind the examiner is. Healthy shows covers cost of capital. Done. Dusted. How many marks? I hope I'm correct. Wow, thanks God. 4 out of 4. Now I'm the marker. You are also the marker. Understood? The magic. Not many tutors cover all these aspects. So do forward this video to your friends. If you are sincere in your friendship, those students, this will be available. This is available on our YouTube channel. Make sure you ask them to watch this to get the clarity. Last part. Okay, the advantages and the disadvantages. Oh man, what he has done. Advantages, okay. Compared to ROI is best suited for investment center. Is this an advantage properly explained? Best suited, okay. Best suited, but why? Best suited, okay. But why? But why? Should I give marks here or not? Yes or no? No. No. It is best suited, for example, because
For example, because it reduces chances of dysfunctional behavior, for example, because it uses cost of capital. Wrong. Wrong. No, properly explained. Second, by using RI for performance measure, division makes make decisions RI in goal congruence with whole organization. Now, will you get marks here? Yes, 1 mark because you use the word goal congruence, and goal congruence means the decisions of the managers are in line with the overall company. Goal congruence. The concept is correct. 1 mark. Disadvantages: incomplete. Time management problem. 0 marks because you were fast in solving this. You didn't have time. You left it. If you left it, so you just scored 1 mark out of 4. And altogether, he managed to score how much? 8 out of 20. Failed. Failed. Understood? We fail by our own foolishness. See, the marks the student received, it's totally silly mistake and foolishness, and that's it. Nothing about bad concepts or anything, I would say. Either time management was not good, either he didn't follow the requirements. Come on, closing net assets, twice they mentioned average assets. Twice they mentioned controllable profits. Still, silly, stupid mistakes. In calculations, stupid mistakes. In theory, not understood the verb or the objects. That is the bottom line from my side. Either the reason is silly mistake in calculations, either the reason is in theory not understanding verbs and objects. So for me, the bottom line summary is, what is the key takeaway? If you ask me, so I'll say the key takeaway is read verbs and objects properly. Verbs and objects properly. You have to answer all the objects. Just give your best in answering all the objects. Any rubbish written will not be marked, but concept, if has been covered well according to requirement, you will get marks. Key takeaway. Touch all the objects in the answer. Number 2, for calculations, read the scenario so that you don't miss out on easy marks. And remember, own figure rule. If one part you think you have done wrong, just ignore it, move to the next part. At least solve the next part based on wrong numbers, based on wrong understanding. Because for that second part, you get complete marks. Complete. And twice we have seen here the RI calculation. So these are my takeaways for you. Should be the same. Number 1, read verb and objects properly. For all objects, you will get marks. Remember, own figure rule will apply. So carry on with the next part. But for technical errors, own figure rule will not be applied. Any technical statement that is wrong, technically, if you're wrong, then you will not get the marks. Okay? And read the question scenario properly to extract the data and the requirements. I hope this read the marker's mind video will be massively useful for you. Please do share your comments in the comment section. I would love to see your feedback. How it helped you, how it gave you the confidence. Did it make you the examiner? And do forward this video, the link of this video, to all your students and friends if you're sincere with them, so that they can benefit massively and they pass PM. PM is not difficult. This is clearly showing not difficult. Just work smartly. Just work intelligently. Just find easy marks and you'll pass. Okay, so I hope you like it. Do share your feedbacks, please. Best of luck for the exams.